Daily Batson, I choose you as champion. Say my name so my powers will become yours. Shazam.
Wait, for real?
Say it, okay? Say my name. Shazam!
That's crazy, right?
What are your superpowers?
Superpowers, dude? I don't even know how to pee in this thing.
This is proof of authenticity. Super strength. Electricity manipulation. Hyperspeed.
I'd like to purchase some of your finest beer, please.
His name is Captain Sparklefingers.
No, it's not. That's not my name.
Chosen one.
Oh, you're like a bad guy, right?
You literally did the opposite of what a superhero is supposed to do.
You're him. You're the hero.
You're welcome for not getting robbed.
I'm Batman.
Get him back in!
How old are you?
Basically 15.
Dude, did you see that?
Yeah, you electrocuted a bus and almost killed these people.
And then I caught it!
You leave tall buildings in a single bound.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Fans not experts, movie month. It's my 6th year doing movie month. 30 movies, 30 days, 30 podcasts that you get to listen to. Fans not experts, movie month. It's my 6th year doing movie month. 30 movies, 30 days, 30 podcasts that you get to listen to, including this one right here. But wait, one more time. Fans not experts, movie month. It's my 6th year doing movie month. 30 movies, 30 days, 30 podcasts that you have the pleasure of listening to. An episode is about to start right now. An episode is about to start right now. The theme song is fading out because an episode.
Chosen from among all others by the immortal elders Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury, Billy Batson and his mentor travel the highways and byways of the land on a never-ending mission to right wrongs, to develop understanding, and to seek justice for all. In time of dire need, young Billy has been granted the power by the immortals to summon awesome forces at the utterance of a single word. A word which transforms him in a flash into the mightiest of mortal beings, Captain Marvel.
Reporting to you live on location in Gansevoort, New York. Where, you say? Exactly. You think New York, you think bright lights, big city. But I'm staring at a farm, a road that says dead end, a farmer's stand that is empty right now, and that looks like a tractor from the 1800s. I am deep in farmland, you could say. We like to call it, I believe it's called upstate New York. And I've been here before. I've recorded from here before multiple times. And today is day 29 of Movie Month. And when I tell you, I'm not going to miss a day. Folks, I'm never going to miss a day. Thank goodness that it's the end of June and my wife just gets out of school, so it's not like we could ever plan a big trip where we're like, in a hotel someplace or going to like a Disney World or something like that. It's, going away, we go to my in-laws, which, you've had to deal with that. And we come up here. We've done it a couple of years in a row, and here we are. What a beautiful morning it is. It's so quiet. I'm going out for my morning walk, and I'm walking by a sign right now, I shit you not, that is cow passing. Okay. This is not the New York you think of. A giant truck just went by me. I have walked by a home with the Confederate flag. There's a cow passing sign. And you say to yourself, where the hell are you, Mike? Well, my cousin lives up here. And before you get any notions, he grew up right in my area, Methuen, Salem, New Hampshire, and moved here for work. He works, I'm not going to say specifically what he does, but he works in sales field, and he's stationed up here, but this is like his territory, so he's up here. But here's the thing. He's got a really great spread. Okay, he's got his wife, his 2 kids. I'm up here with my wife. He's got the home. The big fat backyard is fenced in. There's a place to play basketball. There's a pool. There's a little pool house where we always have music and cold beer in the fridge. There's a fire pit, so we have a fire at night. It is remarkable. We're not too far from Lake George. We're not too far from Saratoga. But where I'm sitting right now, where I'm walking right now, you think you're in, like, I don't know, the prairies, or, I mean, honestly, you feel like you're in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is a classic movie. But it's not the movie I watched today. Let's get to the point. This morning, once again, I set my alarm on my wristwatch, bing, bang, boom, to get up early, 6 in the morning, and watch Shazam. And the fact that I'm saying I'm watching Shazam on this date, really, I don't want to say how I got it, but I got it. And I've been looking forward to this movie for a while. When it first came out, when I first heard about it, I was like, what? Then I see the preview for it, and I was like, this looks like a lot of fun. I'm a big Zachary Levi fan, loved Chuck, and, really happy to see him doing bigger, better things, but I still want him to go back and do a Chuck movie. But let's hope we see more Shazam movies, because this got really great reviews, and I think it did good enough at the box office. I don't know if it did huge, but I think it did good enough. And the thing is, this is what the DC movies should be. Big, bright, fun. You notice the last few DC movies have been Aquaman, the successful ones, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Shazam. Big, bright, fun movies. With, still danger and bad guys and all that stuff. And goofiness. I mean, there's some silliness in this thing. But, Shazam, it's a funny story. Shazam is now in the comics, the name of the superhero is Shazam. But originally, his name was Captain Marvel. And he was made by Fawcett Comics. DC Comics sued Fawcett Comics because they said this is basically a Superman ripoff. I was reading this morning. Fawcett Comics had to pay them $400,000. And, okay, that friggin' car is going so fast. I'm on this long dead-end road. If I get hit, they're not going to find me for days. I'm going to have to wait for 4 kids who are on an adventure of a lifetime to find me by a ditch. Stand By Me reference, kids. Look it up. What happened was then DC Comics, after they got paid this $400,000 in a lawsuit, they started licensing the character, and then they bought the character outright. There's a joke in this movie where they really don't come up with a name for him. They have all these different names and funny names. They can't stick to a name, and that's because Captain Marvel is also a character in Marvel Comics. And it makes more sense. Marvel Comics has a Captain Marvel. Well, Fawcett Comics are the ones that made this up. Now DC Comics owned it. So they kind of had to steer away from him being called Captain Marvel. I think he was called Captain Thunder at some point. And now in the more updated comics, I think he's just called Shazam. But why would this movie be called Shazam all this time? Well, there's a wizard, and the wizard's name, and I say wizard with the most Boston accent I can say, wizard. The wizard's name is Shazam. What wizard? What am I talking about? Well, another thing that I thought was interesting, but another thing that I thought was interesting is that Shazam, or Captain Marvel, or whatever you want to call him, is the first superhero to ever have like a movie. It was like 1941, and there was a Shazam movie or Shazam serial. I thought that was very interesting. Okay, so what's this movie about? This movie just kind of happens. In other words, sometimes maybe I'm looking for too much. I'm like, oh, okay, so we're just going right into this. The movie opens up with a family. A dad, an older brother, and a younger brother driving a car. The dad and the older brother are in the front seat, and they don't really pay attention much to the younger brother. They're kind of annoyed by him. They think he's, just trouble. The dad is John Glover from a lot of different things. Most notably for me, he's Lex Luthor's dad on Smallville, and he was in Gremlins too. But he's actually a really great actor. I mean, you say those two things, you think, oh, really? But on Smallville, he was so friggin' good that, the problem is that those little TV shows could have excellent performances, but they're never going to get the recognition that other shows have. Okay, there's a plane taking off right down the street. Like I'm watching this plane take off. Where am I? Right now, I'm just seeing green pastures, like as far as the eye can see. Even behind me, I don't see the house. All I see is another cow passing sign. Listen to that plane go. So they're in the car at the beginning, and the kid's playing with the magic 8-ball, and all of a sudden the magic 8-ball has these weird symbols on it, and then the kid disappears and shows up in this lair, this like stone underground dungeonous lair. Oh my god, this friggin' plane is so loud. Just hurry up, plane. Oh no, the plane seems to be losing altitude. No, I'm just kidding. The plane's fine. It's gone. It's getting further away. Okay, so he ends up in this lair, and there's this wizard just on a seat, and he's like, whatever he calls him by his name. I can't remember his name. It was like Thad. Thad was his name, and this was in the 70s, by the way. We're back in the 70s. I forgot to mention, and he's like, I am looking for a champion. I am looking for someone who is pure of heart to take over my position. I've lost my wizard friends. I'm the last of the wizards. And it's like, oh man, we're going right into this. And, you will take the staff and say my name, and I will give you all my powers. And the kid's like, instead of listening to him, he's kind of more interested in this glowing ball over in the corner, and there's these creatures there. There's like stone statues with red eyes, and they're telepathically saying, "Don't listen to him. Take the ball. Take the power. We'll give you the power you've never had." And the way I thought, okay, this is the test. This is what the wizards are doing to test this kid to see if he really is pure of thought. Well, the kid goes over and touches the ball. And the wizard's like, no, you cannot touch that. You failed the test. You are not the man. Maybe he did. Well, the ball wasn't just a test. It is an evil thing. But the fact that he did it, he shows that he's not pure of heart. And he sends him right back to where he came from in the car. Now, to the dad and the older brother, the kid just never left. But the kid starts freaking out. He's like, oh, bring me back. Send me back. I want to go back. Because he hates his brother. He hates his dad. He wanted to do something else. And the dad, gets, with all the commotion, he loses control of the car. And then the car slides. He's like, you could have killed us. And then out of nowhere, another car hits them. They roll through the air. And the dad gets thrown for the car. He looks like he survives. He's lying outside the car, and the brother and him crawl out. And he's like, you did. Jesus, there's a giant fly falling on me. The brother's like, you did this. He blamed him. And then that was the end of that. And the younger brother's like, I'm sad. So then we kind of flash forward to today, current day, and there's this young lad named Billy Babson. Well, first, they show this little... No, wait a minute. How do we get there? Do we have a flashback? I don't know if it's a flashback first or if it's the kid now, but we see this Billy Babson as a tiny little kid at a carnival, and he's like, I want a tiger, and the mom's like, I'm not a professional, like real light and smiling. She's playing a carnival game, trying to get a toy for her son, and then they get separated, and the kid gets, found by police, and he's like, your mom will show up, don't worry. And all of a sudden, this kid's like a 15-year-old, 14-year-old kid, and he's been in foster care. He's been in and out of house. I'm like, his mother didn't even look for him. His mother was right there. What the hell? I was like, that seems implausible, but there is an answer for that. So this kid gets, thrown around to different foster houses, and finally gets placed in I guess what you could call the perfect foster house. It's Jerry from The Walking Dead, who I really like, a very likable guy, and his wife, I don't know who the actress is, and they have a house of, a bunch of kids. There's like 4 other kids, and they're really nice, and they're friendly, and they're good to the kids, and there's one kid, Freddie, who is in who has a walking crutch. He's on a crutch for whatever reason, and he said to Billy, he's like, oh my God. He goes, he smiled to the people, and he's like, don't trust them. They did this to me. This is like a house of horrors. I forget what he said. This is like he made a reference to something, and I forget what he made a reference to. And they're like, are you kidding me? He goes, no, of course I'm kidding you. This is great. They're very nice. How you doing? So him and, so it's Freddie and Billy end up going to school together the next day, and they have another foster sister who hugs Billy, and he's like, look, okay, great, I'm not your real brother, you don't have to hug me. They split, they have their day at school, and at the end of the day, Freddie gets bumped by a car from these 2 bullies who start messing around with him, and Billy didn't want any part of it. He started to walk away, but then you see him, he shows up, takes the crutch and beats up the 2 bullies, runs off. The bullies chase him. He runs off, goes into a subway, and then he starts seeing these weird symbols, the same symbols that the other kids saw years ago on the Magic 8 Ball. He's seeing him in the subway, and boom, he ends up in the lair. What? Now, I don't know if I'm doing it out of order, but I don't care. He ends up in the lair, and boom, he's with Shazam, the wizard, and he's like, huh? What the hell's this? And he said, the same spiel. I'm a wizard, and the last of the wizards. I will give you great powers. You have to, take my staff. And the kid goes, gross. And it was actually funny because the kid didn't take it seriously. He was a goofball, he's sarcastic. And he's like, do you want the powers? He's like, oh, okay, fine. And he said, Shazam. And boom, just like that, he turned into Captain Marvel with the whole suit and Zachary Levi. And he starts freaking out, like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And then the wizard turned to dust. Like, that was the wizard passing off his power. He's gone. So now he leaves the staff behind and wakes up back on the subway as Zachary Levi in the costume. And that's where the fun stuff happens. People are poking at him. He doesn't know what's going on. He goes back to the foster house. He shows up in the window and scares the hell out of Freddie and says, this is me. This is what happened. Freddie is also the superhero expert. He's got a Superman bullet. He's got a Batman Batarang replica. Because this is in the DC universe. Superman and Batman are real people. They're real superheroes in this world. But they're also famous, so that there are still Batman and Superman toys. There are all this merchandising that somebody takes advantage of these guys and makes merchandising for them. In a toy store later, we actually see all these different toys. I remember one thing I didn't see. The first time we saw Billy, he was calling these police to go into this pawn shop, and then he locked them in there so he could jump in their car, get on the computer, and look up his mom's last name. He has a book of all these people with the same last name, and he's trying to find the one that could be his mom. Now, the funny thing is the director of this movie, I think his name is David F. Sandberg. He also directed Annabelle Creation. One of the girls in the foster house was also in Annabelle Creation, and inside that pawn shop is an Annabelle doll sitting on the shelf. So, as much as I say I was done with the Annabelle movies, look, we're back talking about them. If anything ever happens to me, if you hear a chainsaw, hopefully this gets uploaded to the cloud and someone can find me. So, Billy. I have bugs all over me. So now Billy's Shazam. He goes out, tells his friend. It doesn't take his friend long to believe him, and that's when they start having fun because he's like, I'm a grown man now. So what do? They go to Billy accidentally starts fighting crime. He goes really fast. He knocks over people. He scares some people. He goes to buy beer. They take a drink of beer and it's gross. That's when guys try to rob the store. He finds out he's bulletproof. I don't know why the guys didn't just turn and threaten to shoot the kid, because it's a PG fun movie. But he finds out he's bulletproof and he tries to fly, and all these things are like reminding me of a story I've been meaning to write for 100 years. And I'm like, oh, that kind of reminds me of that. If I ever wrote that now, people would compare that to this. So whatever. Another excuse for me not to be a writer. But they do fun things where he tries to learn to fly. He tries to figure out what powers he has. He's impervious to fire, but he can't shoot lasers out of his eyes, but he can shoot lightning out of his hands. That's his big thing. He can shoot lightning out of his hand. He can aim it perfectly. At one point, he's basically, this is a world of superheroes. So seeing a superhero isn't like mind blowing. It's just like, oh wow, Philly has their own superhero, and it's this guy, Captain Lightning or Captain Silly Pants. They came up with all those different names. He would actually be on the Rocky Steps playing Eye of the Tiger, shooting lightning in the air for tips. And his lightning accidentally came and hit a bus. The bus almost flipped over. He went and caught the bus. And caught the bus, saved the people, but he caused the problem in the first place. And he's just like, he didn't really take himself all that seriously until the bad guy shows up. Who's the bad guy? Let's go back a little bit. So that kid Thad at the beginning, well, he's all grown up now. Every car drives down this road like it's 100 miles an hour. This is crazy. So he's all grown up now, and he has this business where he is pretending to do research on something called mass hysteria. Okay, that's what he calls this, mass hysteria, of all these people claiming to see and feel the same thing. Well, guess what they've been seeing and feeling? The exact same thing that he did as a kid. This wizard Shazam has been searching the globe. It's just a random moment that Billy Batson is the one that worked. They've been searching people all over the world. They've all had the same experience where they see these symbols, they disappear, they're in this lair, and then they wake up where they were. And the doctor there thinks it's all crazy, but that guy Thad, who's played by Mark Strong, great actor, he realizes. Now by a crick. He realizes that all these symbols need to be put in a specific order 7 times in a row. So he does that, and I'm approaching the house now with the Confederate flag out front. Now mind you, I'm not in Dixieland. I'm in New York. I mean, this is the northeast of the United States. We won that war. Why is there a Confederate flag up here? All I know is there's a truck. It has hay in the back. There's 3 trailers, so many horse trailers. There's I think this is a horse training place. It looks like there's a horse barn either being built, or not finished. Oh, it's a horse statues. But yeah, that is the Confederate flag flying out front. Interesting. This is just, I mean, nowadays it's, considered in poor taste to have those flags. But again, unless he's from the South. Maybe he's from the South and he moved up here. Growing up, I just thought of it as the Southern flag of General Lee. It represents a lot more than that. But seeing it up here, it's weird. 2019, but I have a feeling that it's not 2019 where I'm walking right now. Just throwing that out there. So he realizes the exact code and the exact way to do it, and he puts it on this door, and he just realized, because I guess enough people talked about opening a door, so he has this door built that goes nowhere, puts the exact codes on it, and opens the door, and he's right back in the lair. And Shazam is like, you can't, wait a minute. This is confusing to me. If he gave his power to Shazam. If Shazam gave his power to Billy Batson, why is the wizard there again? Huh. I am confused. Did the wizard turn to dust? Maybe the wizard didn't turn to dust with Billy Batson. Maybe I'm so confused now. That seems weird, because the wizard was back in the lair, and this time Mark Strong shows up and gets the ball, wakes up all the bad guys. The ball goes into his eye. Now he's got this glowing blue eye, and he can control these 7 statues that are really 7 demons that are really the 7 sins. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I don't know. But now Mark Strong has powers. He's the bad guy. He goes to his parent. He goes back to his dad's company, this big giant rich company. There's his brother. There's his dad. He strolls right in. His dad's in a wheelchair from the accident, and he brings out his 7 creatures, and they just start killing, biting the head off of one dude, throwing people out the window. I mean, this was like pretty hardcore as far as, killing a bunch of people. And he just did that to do that, I suppose. Then he saw about he wants the power. He wants the power of the wizard, but that power's already been given. It's already been taken away. He needs that to be strong enough. The wizard did show Billy Batson that he's given the power to some people before, and it was the wrong choice. So maybe he doesn't die. And the wrong choice is they show kind of a CGI, creation of this thing that had this lightning bolt on his chest, and I believe that's Black Adam, who will be the Rock in the Black Adam movie, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. So I'm all over the place. Big ass bugs. So now he has the power. He's looking for the champion, and he sees the superhero in Philly with the lightning bolt. So when Billy Batson Shazam saves the bus, this guy shows up, and basically they just start fighting, and Shazam gets beaten up pretty good. Now Mark Strong figures out who Shazam is, figures out he's just a kid, and goes to the foster house to take all the kids. He kidnaps all the kids in the foster house. I'm going to fast forward to the end. He kidnaps all the kids in the foster house. He wants the powers of the Shazam. He's got the staff. He says, say the wizard's name and grant me your powers. And instead, he somehow Zachary Levi gets the staff from him, and then takes all his foster brothers and sisters, has them grab the staff because they figured out who he was. One of the sisters saw him change, and they all say Shazam. They say my name, and they go, Billy. That was pretty funny. He goes, no. Say the new name, the name I said. And they said, Shazam. And they all turn into superhero versions of themselves. All older, all muscular, all with powers, all in the same similar suits. And part of me was like, oh man, I wanted Billy Batson to be the special one, and he'd be the one with the powers, and the one with the one who saves the day. But the thing is there is a comic book aspect to this, and I look, I saw a picture of all these people in similar Shazam outfits that are all his brothers and sisters. So there is a not to say a precipice. The story did come from something. It wasn't made up for the movie. And then they're all having fun. One of them's Adam Brody, who's an actor that you'd recognize from a bunch of different things. So then they're having fun saving day, fighting the bad guys. And eventually, Zachary Levi takes the eye. The eye is envy. That's the last of the 7 sins. It leaves him, and when it leaves him, Mark Strong has no powers. So that's when he rips the eye thing out of the bad guy and puts the bad guy in jail. But Mark Strong's still in jail, and he's doodling at something. And at the very end, in the mid-credit scene, I'm going to tell you, this caterpillar shows up and starts talking to him. This like giant caterpillar-looking thing starts talking to him about how we're going to take the world back. The caterpillar was in Shazam's lair, hanging out. Maybe he has real powers. I don't know exactly. But that's how the movie ended. Oh, and then it showed Shazam trying to talk to fish, and they said that's a dumb thing. The way the movie ended is they made fun of Aquaman. The way the movie ended for us is they the kid Freddy said, I know that guy. Oh, because they were posting videos on YouTube, so he was becoming famous. Freddy's like, I know him, he's my friend. And the bullies are like, yeah, right. And he says he's going to show up at lunch for me one day. But they were arguing with each other, so he didn't show up with them. So at the end of the movie, Shazam shows up to lunch with Freddy and all the foster kids at once, and to impress all the kids of the school, and to impress and get those bullies to leave him alone because they're his close friends. And he goes, and also nice to meet all you other people that I've never seen before, all his foster brothers and sisters. And then he says, oh, I also brought someone else, and in walks Superman. It would have been awesome if they could have gotten Henry Cavill. It was Henry Cavill's suit. It was the DC Comics Superman, that suit, the DC movies Superman. But all you see is the suit from the neck down walk in, and then he stops with his lunch tray. Freddy turns and goes, oh, I don't know if he said holy, and he just freaked out, and that's when the movie ended. And I would have freaked out too if Superman showed up. I just wished it could have been Henry Cavill. I wished somehow, I saw Henry yesterday with Mission Impossible 6. That mustache that Henry Cavill had in Mission Impossible 6 had everything to do with how stupid and weird he looked in Justice League, because they had to digitally remove his mustache, which just did not work. It made him look very weird. It's just another thing that made that movie not work all that well. And those are my favorite characters, and to be in shitty movies, not shitty movies, but not great movies. Like the greatest Superman movie of the last few years is Shazam, I guess you could say. The last 5-10 years, Shazam, as Dave Chappelle has said. So this is a fun movie. I just hope it leads to more DC comic movies, more fun movies, more intertwined. Like they talk about, are they rebooting the universe? Are they ditching the DC universe? They can't be ditching it completely. Yes, we see Matt Reeves is Batman. Now we see Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker in his own Joker movie. What I would love, and Joker in that movie is in Gotham City, is near Arkham Asylum. What I would love, let's start over. If we're going to start over, and I know that the Batman is supposed to be standalone, but I want this Joker and the Batman with Edward, the kid from Twilight. I want those to be connected. Have an older Joker and a younger Batman. I want that to have some kind of stinger that makes these movies work together. Please. I don't think it's going to. I don't think there's going to be any connection. Maybe in future movies. But to have a Joker movie without any reference of Batman, I'll be disappointed. That's all I have to say. All right, I'm going to turn around now and start heading back, because it's a good little walk back, and I'm getting deeper and deeper into the woods. And there's something in there. And it's either a person working or it's a bear coming to kill me. So let's just keep walking. So, yes, I really enjoyed Shazam. A lot of fun. I knew I would. Because, A, it's superhero stuff. I mean, that's not that hard. It's not that hard of a stretch. They can't all be Dark Phoenix movies. It looked like it was going to be bright, fun, and it's got Zachary Levi in it, who I'm a big fan of. And even the kid who's in this movie, his best friend Freddy, I'm a fan of this kid. He's been in It. He was on a couple sitcoms that I liked. I've seen him in a bunch of things, and I've liked him in everything he's been in. So how could it go wrong? And this director, who so far directed the best Annabelle movie, it went on to direct this. He went from doing shorts to Annabelle to this. And I hope this leads to bigger and better things. I think they did greenlight the Black Adam movie, which hopefully means we'll get Shazam 2. What can I say? A lot of fun. This is where DC gets it right. Give it to the right people, not named Zack Snyder. Unfortunately, I have to say it. And maybe you can have movies that are connected, but you don't have to have these superhero team-ups. Look, I've said it 1,000 times. The Avengers gave you all these single movies and then took all these characters that you've become acquainted with and put them together, and you're like, oh cool, they're all together. In DC, they didn't really do that. It was like, here's Batman, here's Superman. Okay, now here's Superman with Batman, and there's Wonder Woman, and now here's a bunch of them, and here's the Justice League. We're like, oh, this is how we're dealing with it? And, you know, the Justice League had Cyborg in it. That's all I have to say. You know, I'm sorry. Who gives a shit about Cyborg? No offense, but you go from Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, great. The Flash, Aquaman, okay. And then Cyborg. To me, he's like a D level. Like, you have the Green Arrow, you have the Green Lantern. I'm sure there's other green things, but those two seem like they could have been bigger. They could have made it better. I don't know. I'm complaining. I'm going off on a tangent that because I'm just walking and the heat is getting to me, I'm going to go straight home and jump in their pool. Folks, we did it. I can't believe it. We are one movie away from finishing out the 6th movie month. Okay? You know what that means? That means tomorrow is movie 180 that I've watched since the beginning of movie month in 2014. Every day, every June, never missed one. And even coming up here, went for a nice walk by myself to give me time to talk about this movie, because I woke up bright and early and I watched it. And tomorrow night, I'm going to be watching a movie on Netflix, on my TV, enjoying it. I don't know if I want to say what it is yet, but let's just say that it is, once again, a superhero-related movie. No more horror. No more impossible missions. And I'm just going to say, after today, no more live action. So let that sink in, and I'll probably give you a hint of what's coming tomorrow. I'm going from one universe to another universe. But that's tomorrow. Today, I'm going to go back and hit the pool. Maybe go get some ice cream later. That'd be nice. But I want to tell you where you can find me. On Instagram, it's Geek Mentality. On Twitter, it's Geek Mentality. Those are the two most important places. If you could follow me there, that would be so choice. The Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. You can go there too if you want. I don't do as much there. And the website is fansnotexperts.com, where you will find every movie month post ever created, plus all the other little Geek Mentality episodes that I do here and there. You'll find my Mad Men podcast. There's a few music podcasts on there. And we have a wrestling podcast that we, kind of do. And coming next month, you should be seeing the Stranger Things podcast returning to the air, as July 4th brings the 3rd season of Stranger Things. So there's a lot happening at fansnotexperts.com. I appreciate all the follows, all the tweets, all the retweets and likes, all the likes on Instagram, and all the listens and downloads. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you guys so much for listening. And until tomorrow, for the last time this year, I'll see you then. But until then, here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.